stop waiting for things to look like a win. Decide that you win, even here, even when you're down, especially here right now. Today, let's talk about winning when it feels like nothing is going your way. Most people, we think winning, it looks one way. If it's only in the perfect setting that everything works, that you win, that you finally feel fulfilled, and in all other circumstances, you feel like a loser, then you're fragile. When everything looks like a loss, you have 3 new ways to win, because the people who build real momentum in life aren't the ones who avoid losses. They're the ones who never run out of ways to win. All right, let's go. If you're tired, not feeling fit, tired, just not having a focus, tired, just not having a life that you desire. This is your place to be. I'm Jason Yarusi. Today, let's talk about winning when it feels like nothing is going your way. So most people, we think winning, it looks one way. You hit that number, you close that deal, you get the outcome that you ever so much wanted. But what happened when the deal falls apart, when the numbers miss, when everything that seemed perfectly lined up just at the last minute just completely falls apart, or you have this perfectly laid plan and then in front of you, before you even get out of the gate, it just crumbles in this massive fashion. And what happens? Does it look like a loss when it's not the moment that you envisioned for all along? What if it's that moment that you were forced to learn how to win differently? When everything seems stacked up against you, when everything seems to be pushing you back. And we've been conditioned to tie winning to the outcomes. It's just that when I do all this, if I do it right, if everything works my fashion, if I get lucky, or everything just happens to fall in place, then I'm a winner. But what happens when the indicators that teach you what winning is or is supposed to be are lacking? What happens then? Well, for most of us, we give up far too early just to even have the notion of understanding or figuring that out. And only if you know how to win when the outcome goes your way. Think about this. If it's only in the perfect setting that everything works, that you win, that you finally feel fulfilled, and in all other circumstances, you feel like a loser, then you're fragile, because eventually the market shifts, partnerships, they fail, the plan breaks, and now what? And this is where most people, we spiral just completely out of control. We go back to our past habits, and I guess this wasn't for me. Or Uncle Johnny comes out of the room and says, I told you so. Or you have all these other people who said, hey, listen, I told you that would happen. And you tighten up, you retreat, you wait, and you say, I guess I truly didn't understand what it took to win. It's in a decision. When everything looks like a loss, you have 3 new ways to win. 1, you win the lesson. If this costs you time, it costs you energy, and it maybe even costs you money. Good. Extract the value, make it expensive for a reason. Understand how you got here and how that outcome surfaced. Number 2, win the standard. You do not control the outcomes. The most important thing here is you don't understand that the final result is not something that if you do everything right is going to happen. If you do everything right, it may or may not happen, but you set the standard for what it takes so you can control how you can show up. And the pressure you put on yourself, it reveals the standards. Then you win the pivot. Every loss removes a path that you should no longer go down. And if you see people who struggle, and they do it over and over and over again, they might be in the dishwasher phase, right? Or the laundry room phase where they're constantly in that cycling period of just figuring it out. Or you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again and ask, well, why isn't it working? So it gives you the opportunity to move faster, sharper, cleaner. And the people who win long-term aren't the ones who avoid losses. The loss, it's the ones who redefine winning in real time. You say, okay, well, that didn't work. Well, instead of me retreating and going back and covering up in a turtle shell, you say, well, okay, what can I do differently to make the next outcome more in my favor? It didn't come when things were easy. It came when something broke. And you say, well, that was broken. Okay, let's find a way to fix it. And it's the deal that you thought was guaranteed gone, a strategy you believed in, and it failed. Well, a season when you're putting in all the work, you're doing everything counts, and nothing clicks. It's that moment that you force something, you got sharper, you got more disciplined, you got more honest, and that version of you, that is the one who's actually going to win, because you're going to hunker it down. You're going to understand the lesson. You're going to set new standards. You're going to pivot to continue on your journey to that final destination. So when things go sideways, run this immediately. What did this teach me, and how could I learn from this experience that was invaluable to this moment? 2, how do I show up at a higher level now? Anyway, regardless of what happened. And 3, what move does this open that I wouldn't have been able to see before? If you can answer those, you're already winning. You're finding your way onto a better you. So Stop waiting for things to look like a win. Decide that you win, even here, even when you're down, especially here right now, because the people who build real momentum in lives aren't the ones who avoid losses. They're the ones who never run out of ways to win. All right, that's what I have for you today. I'm Jason Yarusi. This is the Low Inch Podcast. Let's do this.